So, my name, like Gordon mentioned, my name is Jeff Racz. I'm a customer success consultant for REMAX of Canada. So essentially my role with REMAX is to work with offices to help them make use of the different tech tools that we offer. The big one, of course, being MaxTech powered by, we used to call it MaxTech powered by KV Core, but it's been rebranded recently, just over the last couple of days. We're now calling it MaxTech powered by Bold Trail. So it is still the same underlying platform. It still does all the same sorts of things it did before, but it has had a little bit of a facelift. A couple of things been moved around a little bit compared to what it was previously, but it is, again, it's still the same platform. It still does all the same things that it did before. So before we get too far into things though, I do want to just quickly mention, I always like to put in a little plug for our support team. If you're running into any problems with any of the tech tools, or if you just have questions with any of the tools, definitely use our support team as a resource for any of that kind of stuff. You can reach out to them either using that little chat bubble directly in the platform. So right in MaxTech powered by Bold Trail, you'll see a little blue chat bubble in the bottom right corner. And if you have a question, if you've come across a problem you need to get resolved, click on that and you can actually put your questions or your comments directly into that chat bubble. You can also reach out to our support team at customersupport@remax.com as an email address. Or you can even actually either call or even text them actually at the number that you see up on the screen as well. So that's probably the quickest way to get a hold of somebody at the support team is by using that number to actually give them a call, because they do sometimes give preference to people who are actually getting on the phone and giving them a call. So, not 24/7, but they are open pretty wide hours. Yeah, it's like 8 in the morning till I think it's like 5, 6, 7 o'clock into the evening. So usually somebody will be there to answer your call if you do give them a call. So. Yeah, exactly. So what we're going to be mainly looking at today, we're going to be looking at some different ways that you can use the MaxTech powered by KV Core system for, more specifically for lead gen. And we're going to be looking at some of the cool functions of the platform as well. So our presentation today is going to be primarily more of a workshop layout. So we're going to be actually looking at things directly in the platform rather than looking at a PowerPoint slide. So yeah, let me go ahead. I'll just jump into my live web browser here. And for anybody that wants to follow along, please feel free to do so. If you have your computer with you, sometimes, I know for me anyways, I learn better doing rather than just seeing somebody do something. So if you want to, feel free to work along with me. We're going to start by logging into our MaxCenter account. So I'm just going to go ahead. Yeah.
Let us get it.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So to get to MaxCenter, just open up your web browser. It's just www.remax.net for the URL. And when you go to sign in using your userremax.net email address to get into your account. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to log into my account here. And you'll notice I have a .com address. That's just because I'm corporate staff, but everybody else signing in here, you just use your standard remax.net email address. Let me just get into my account here. And if you're having issues getting in, we do have this option right down here, the forgot username or password, where you can hopefully just reset your password to get into your account. Or failing that, if you're just completely stuck and you can't get in for whatever reason, we do also have our support team's phone number right at the bottom of this page as well. So hopefully you can get into your account. If not, you can always kind of follow along with me still. You can just kind of take notes of what we're going to be going over and come back to it later. But again, I know for myself anyways, I learn better doing rather than seeing somebody do something. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to sign into my MaxCenter account. And once we're signed in, so we've actually been doing some changes to a few of the different things that we have. So MaxCenter, this is our main dashboard to get into all the different REMAX tools that we offer. This has had a little bit of a facelift itself. You'll notice a couple of things have been moved around pretty recently. We used to have an education menu at the top of this page, which has now been moved down into the apps down here. And this menu over here has also changed looks a little bit over the last month and a half or so. So there has been a few changes here as well, but this is also very much like it was or has been for a number of years now too. So what we're going to be looking for here, if you are following along, we're going to be looking down in this all apps section. And we're gonna be looking for one that says platform MaxTech powered by Bold Trail. So that has changed recently. That little tile that we used to go into our KV Core platform has changed recently to go to that new branding that we have. So if you don't happen to see it down here, if you just click on all apps, you should find in this big list of apps that we have access to, you'll find this one right here, this platform MaxTech powered by Bold Trail. So when we click on that, I've actually already logged into one of our demo accounts. So I can actually just jump over to here, and I'm gonna go into an account we use for a lot of our training. It's Roberta Realtor. And this is basically just a demo or a test account that we've set up for being able to do training and do testing and stuff like that on. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna log into this account. And it should look a lot like what you're seeing when you log in, except we just have dummy data. We have some listings coming in here, but it's a listing feed from the New York Real Estate Board. We do also have some dummy contact data in here as well. So we have something to look at when we're doing our presentations. So the first thing you'll notice here, this has changed looks quite a bit just over the last couple of days. So we've actually gone through, we've rebranded, and you'll notice up over here, it now says MaxTech powered by Bold Trail instead of MaxTech powered by KV Core. The overall dashboard has changed a little bit. Some of these icons over here, some of these buttons that we have over here have changed looks a little bit, and a few things have been moved around. But again, it's still the same underlying platform. It still does all the same things that it did previously, just with a bit of a facelift essentially. So the first thing I did want to quickly show you here, I wanted to go into this section over here where it says contacts. So that's basically our CRM for the MaxTech powered by KV by Bold Trail system. So we're going to go into contacts quickly. And I want to just quickly touch on a couple of things here. So what we should be finding here is all the leads that we've had come into the system over the last 2 or so years that we've actually had the MaxTech system, is all those leads are actually going to appear right in this little section right here. And what you should also find is all the leads you had previously with the old Lead Street system, those should also have been migrated over here as well. So hopefully everybody has at least some contacts to look at here, some leads to look at. And what we want to look at here as well, so let's just go randomly into one of these. Let's go into Fred Flintstone, I guess, in this case. So looking at the contacts themselves, there is quite a bit of information associated to every single contact in here. And what we really want to make sure that we do is when we have these contacts in here, when we add our own contacts in here as well, we want to make sure that the information we have is as accurate as possible. We want to make sure that we have, of course, the person's full name. We want to hopefully have an email address and a phone number, because the more information you have in the system, the better the system can work based on that information. What you'll also see is let's say you had a lead that came in from a site like REMAX.ca. So a lead that comes into the system, typically when a lead first comes in the system, initially it's going to be labeled over here. So we have this along the top here, we have this client journey section where we will basically label or separate people based on what they are in their client journey. So somebody coming in as a new lead into the system usually will initially come in as a new lead. So I'm just going to switch it over to that so we can see what that looks like. So hopefully when you have these leads come in, when they initially come in, they are going to come in as a new lead. But as you start working with those people, as you start gaining more information about them and start learning about where they're at, you want to make sure you keep that updated so that the system can work based on that information as well. So somebody coming in as a new lead for the first time, as you start communicating with them, they can automatically be moved from being a new lead over to being an active lead if they start communicating back with you. So you can reach out to them saying, hey, how can I help you? As soon as they respond to you, the system will move them from being this new lead status over to being an active lead.
And it does that on its own.
For that specific change, it will do that on its own as long as that function's turned on, which it is.
So while they're still considered a new lead, could they then be, could Pat end up getting it if I don't respond?
Well, typically once you have a lead, it's your lead unless certain options are turned on at the office level to take a lead back if you're not working with them.
Okay.
Once you accept the lead, it's yours.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So once you get that lead, in this case, because your office is set up that way, once you have the lead, it's your lead and it's up to you to communicate with that person. So a question back there?
What can we do? So I see there's a closed option, but when you click on that, it looks like it's like a positive, as in congrats, you actually closed this. But sometimes we get quite a few leads that come in that are actually, they already have a contract with another realtor.
Okay.
So I don't want them in like a positive closed. I want them like I can't do anything with it. So
Okay.
what do I do with that?
So you could potentially archive that person so that you're not trying to communicate with them. That's one of the options over here under more actions. You can actually archive a lead and it kind of still keeps it in your account, but there's no active communication with that person once you've archived them.
Can you delete a lead?
Yeah, you can potentially delete leads as well. I mean, it's good to have them in there just in case they were maybe wanting to communicate with you in the future. So I would probably archive rather than delete, but it's always your option to delete a lead as well if you want. So great questions though. So yeah, so we have this idea of having this client journey, which we want to kind of progress people through that client journey from being a new lead to being an active lead to being your client and eventually hopefully closing a sale with them as well. What we also have, so when a new lead comes in from one of those websites like remax.ca or our global site or one of the MaxTech websites, initially when the lead comes in, we're going to label them as being either a buyer, seller, renter, vendor, or agent. So most of the leads that come in are somebody landing on a listing on one of those websites and sending a request on one of those listings. So in most cases, when that new lead comes in, they're probably going to initially come in as being a buyer lead. But if you start communicating with that person, you find out that they are also looking to sell, which is a pretty common thing, you do want to update this section right here as well so that we know that they're a buyer and a seller and whatever else they might be as well. Because the more information, again, we have here, the better we can work with them and the better the system can work with them as well. So what we also have right below that, over here, we have this ability to label people based on other things we know about them as well. So if that information we know about them doesn't fit into one of these other ways to label people, you can actually add what we call hashtags. So if you know somebody's looking for a property in a certain neighborhood, let's say, you can actually add a hashtag saying this person is looking in this neighborhood, or this person lives in this neighborhood, or maybe they're an avid golfer and they're looking for a property on a golf course. So whatever you know about them, you can actually add hashtags as a way to be able to find them in the future and find that information about them in the future. So let's say this person's a golfer. We can actually add golfer as a hashtag so that in the future, if a property on a golf course comes up, we can look back in our CRM and find all the people who are golfers, let's say, so we can send that information to them. So lots of information here. One of the big things I do want to mention here as well, under this profile details section, we do have something called castle consent. Does anybody know what castle is?
Something to do with privacy.
It basically stands for Canadian anti-spam legislation. So when a lead comes into the system from one of those websites that I mentioned, them requesting information or them sending the lead in basically gives us implied consent. So they're implying that we're able to contact them to basically see how you can assist them. The problem is implied consent will eventually expire. So all those leads that are coming in from those websites, we want to actually reach out to them initially, just saying, hey, I wouldn't mind contacting you, sending you some information from time to time. Are you willing for me to do that? And if they respond back saying that that's fine, then at that point you have what we call express consent. So they've consented to you contacting them, and then you're fine to send them that sort of information going forward. If you don't have consent and you're sending people information they don't want, you actually can potentially get big fines for doing that. So that's very, very important. You want to make sure you're getting that consent for you to be able to contact those people. And if you do get that consent, so in this section, after we have a lead in the system, we go in to edit the details, you can actually put in what sort of consent you have. So implied is what we have automatically when somebody sends a request through on a listing or something like that from remax.ca. Once we have that express consent, we can come here and switch the person over to having express consent. And then from then on, you're fine to continue reaching out to them. But I do always recommend when you have those leads initially come in, while you're thinking about it, definitely reach out to them by email or text message, just asking if they are consenting for you to actually communicate with them through the system. So very important. I've heard of people getting $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 fines for not abiding by castle consent rules. So that is one thing, definitely want to make sure you add that in there. The other side to that as well is when you're actually adding in your contacts. So let's say you go and add a new contact into the system. So right here as part of the wizard when you're adding a contact in, you actually have these consent options right here where you can actually say that they've given me consent to call them, text message them, and email them. So without those sorts of consent, you won't be able to actually communicate with people through the system. So they'll exist as a contact in your system, but if you don't have that consent, you can't actually send out emails to those people. You can't send them text messages. You can't call through the system essentially. So, all right. So yeah, we're just in the contact section right now. I just went up here and I clicked to add a contact. So if I were going to go in and add a new contact into the system, yeah, you can add them one at a time by adding them just like that.
I thought you were still with Fred Flintstone.
Yeah, I was in Fred Flintstone. Let's actually go back into Fred Flintstone for a second here. So this is where we were looking at this dummy data that we have in the system. But the cool thing that the MaxTech system does for you is all of the communications that you have with a client or anything that you do with that person can be tracked here. So you can always refer back. You had a new lead come on a certain date, you sent them a message, they responded either by email or text message. All of that's tracked here in this timeline view. So you can get a high-level overview of how you communicated with somebody, what information you sent to them, what they've sent back to you. So all of that's tracked in here as long as you're using the MaxTech system as your CRM. You're communicating with people through this CRM. And what's really cool here as well, so at any point, as long as you have that consent, you can always send an email to somebody. So looking at the contact record, you can very easily come in here and send an email. You can actually send a text message right from the MaxTech system. So all those outgoing text messages are tracked here as well. So if we actually go over here, let me just see where that is. Yeah, there is a text option. Oh, it's not showing up for some reason. So we have new call. Yeah, typically there would be a text message option here and it's not showing up for some reason. So I think we might have a little glitch in the contact record that we're in, but you have that ability with the system to send out text messages right from the CRM. So what you're looking at a contact, if they've sent you a text message, you can respond in kind and all of that's going to be tracked right here in this overall timeline as well. And what's...
The mass text and the mass email too, from like clicking the check marks.
Yeah, you have the ability to send out mass emails to people from the system. So if you want to send emails to a whole group of people, so maybe you wanted to send an email out to all those people who are golfers, you can actually narrow down your CRM to all the golfers, and you can send a mass text message to all of them about maybe an upcoming golf event or something like that. A lot of these are fake phone numbers and fake email addresses that we have here, but typically when you're in your own account, if you have somebody's cell phone number, you can actually send them a text message. Just so you're aware, when you're sending a text message through the system, that outgoing text message is going to come from what we call the smart number for the office. Is anybody familiar with what a smart number is?
Yeah.
A little bit? Okay. So for anybody who's not aware, every office gets a smart number. So it's a phone number in the area that's been registered for the office. And you can basically kind of use it like it's another office number for your actual office, because when you actually send a text message to somebody through the system, it's going out from that phone number. If the contact responds to that, it sees that you're connected to that person in the CRM, and that text message is going to come back to you in your MaxTech account. Any outgoing calls, so let's say I wanted to make a call to Fred Flintstone here.
But if that person calls, that
It'll go to you. So if you have their contact in there, if they call that number, like that number's, each office has its own number. So if that person calls and it says, oh, that's Raj's contact, it'll go to you.
Yeah, you'd have a smart number for your specific area code. But that connection between you and your client is made so that if they respond back to that outgoing text message, that's going to come back to you and it's going to come right into the contact record in your account. So it does have that connection. You can even actually make a call. So me sitting here, I can actually click this new call button. What the system's going to do is it's going to call me on my cell phone number first. And once it's connected with me, it's then going to call my client. So it's making sort of a conference call between you and your client, but that gives you the ability to make a call right in front of your computer, looking at the contact record. So you'll have all that information right there at your fingertips.
And it should log the call too, right?
It's all going to be logged as well. Yeah. With the log call, when you complete the call, you can actually even give yourself some notes saying, this is what we talked about. This is what we discussed, all that kind of stuff. So, all right. Yeah. So I just kind of wanted to quickly talk about the CRM. Again, it's kind of very important that we have the accurate information here because I like to say garbage in, garbage out. If you don't have appropriate information for your clients and the proper information about what you know about them, then the system can't work to its fullest extent, essentially. So, all right. So next thing I wanted to talk a little bit about, I wanted to talk about different ways that you can use your MaxTech account to potentially generate leads for yourselves. So this is something, I believe this is something that Gord's probably talked a little bit about in the past in some of the training sessions, but I wanted to talk first about building what we call a landing page. So let me just go in here. Oh, actually, sorry, it's gonna be under lead engine this time. We're gonna be looking right here under lead engine, and we're gonna go right into this option right here that says landing page. So if you were an admin or if you were like Gord in this case, because he's the broker, he would have the ability to choose to create a landing page under multiple different websites. But all of you have your own website through the MaxTech system. And when you build a landing page, you're actually building it under your own website. So
What app was it?
So we're gonna go into lead engine on the left side of the page. And then it's gonna bring us to this page of all the different lead engine options. We're gonna be going right here into this landing page option right in the middle of the page. And we can come back, we can find past landing pages here. So any landing pages that we built in the past, we can come back and find those again here. But we're gonna go and actually build a landing page from scratch here. So I'm just gonna go in to start building a landing page. And the landing page, it is basically set up as sort of a wizard as well. So it may make it very easy to go and build a landing page. And you can build whatever page you want based on what you're trying to do or what you're trying to accomplish. So the whole idea with a landing page is to offer some sort of information in exchange for somebody giving you their contact information. So if we wanted to build a landing page, let's say to offer out a home buyer or seller guide, we can use this for that. If we wanted to build a landing page offering people for you to actually give them a CMA, something like that, you can build a landing page based on that. You can even offer staging guides or whatever information you think might be valuable to potential clients. You can build a landing page with that intent in mind so that people, if they land on this page, will then hopefully give you their information in exchange for that information you're offering out. So let's say we're going to build a page, let's say a home staging guide. So if we wanted to build a page based on that, so essentially right at the top of the page here, we have some options to set up the page itself. So in most cases, when you're building a landing page, you're probably building it with the intention of generating leads. So right over here, I'm going to choose lead generation. If this is maybe a home staging guide, we can actually put in a hashtag so that any leads that come off this page are going to be hashtagged with that specific hashtag. So let's say we add staging guide as the hashtag. Right down here, so this is the button text right here. So this actually relates to what we see on this button down here. So let's just put in for the text itself, let's say get your guide, something like that. So you can see as we update that right here, that updates the text that shows up on the button down here. We also have, once somebody has given you their information, you can deliver them to a specific page or to whatever URL you want. So if you're trying to give them that sort of staging guide, maybe you have that hosted on a Dropbox account or a Google Drive or something like that, you can put in that URL right here. And then after they give you their contact information, it will deliver them directly to that guide. So you put in whatever page you want to deliver them to. In this case, I'll just deliver them to remax.ca. Something like that. So I'll just grab this URL right here. I'm going to paste that in right here. That is optional, just so you know as well. You don't necessarily have to deliver them somewhere, but I generally think that that's a good practice to deliver them somewhere after they've given you their information. You can also make it mandatory for them to give you their phone number. So typically all it's really asking for is their email address, but you can set this so that it also requires their phone number. And then it makes it so that this field right here is going to be a mandatory field. So they can only get to the next step by giving you also their phone number. And over here, this is where we can choose the overall look of the page. So first thing we can choose is the background image. So right now we have it set to the lady, but maybe we want to have it set to a picture of a kitchen, let's say. So that's basically controlling what's showing up in the background here. And we also have the option to go with a light theme or a dark theme. So it's giving it a bit of a lighter or a darker overlay for the image. And if we really wanted to, we could actually even use our own specific image. Rather than using one of the ones we provided here, you can actually put your own image as the background as well. And then the last thing we have over here, we have an option for the type of lead that's going to be coming off of this page. So based on what you're offering, you're getting an idea of what type of person this person is. Whether this person is a buyer because they're maybe looking for a staging guide. If they're looking maybe for a CMA, then they're more likely to be a seller. But I think with what we're building here today, probably buyer is going to be our better option. So that lead that comes in off this page is going to have that person be labeled as a buyer when they come into your CRM. For the page itself, we have a few options here. We actually have this REMAX logo image, which that's going to look a little different for you guys, I believe. If you don't want to have that image there, you can double click on it to remove it. And it just basically just brings the rest of the page up for higher on the page. And then we have a number of different text fields where we can actually put some text in based on what we're going to be offering out in this case. So let's go with the intention of building a buyer's guide. Staging guide, I should say. So we just basically type in a bit of text based on that. So just fill that in. And then these other boxes, these are all very much the same. You can adjust this text to be whatever you want it to be based on what you're trying to offer out. You may not need all of these boxes, and you can actually just double click on any of these that you want to remove, and that will remove those from the page as well. But with what we have right here at this point, you have a very simple page built. And at this point, if we want, we can just save that. So if I save that right now, so this is our final page that we have. And if we were to take this and share this out on social media, anybody that clicks through to this page is going to be presented with what we're seeing right now. And if they are interested in getting a home staging guide, they would just basically fill in their email address and their phone number and click that Get Your Guide button. Can I see a question right there?
When you're your toes, how do you get them back though? Like if you want to add something or change it for the next time, does it auto?
Unfortunately, after you've built the page, it's kind of, that's how it is from then on. You'd have to probably build a new page if you wanted to make any changes to this page.
So if you accidentally delete one, you're...
Yeah. If you accidentally delete one, you just have to probably start over again, unfortunately. Yeah, that's kind of one of the downsides to this whole landing page system, but you're not limited with how many landing pages you can build. So if you make a mistake on one, you can just go and build a brand new one. So again, this is something where based on what you're trying to offer here, you can build as many of these pages as you want, share them out on social media to hopefully get more interest in what you're trying to offer out and hopefully start generating more leads for yourselves. And I saw a question here.
Yeah, so for the URL, can you use the URL shortener to get like for sharing?
Yeah, you definitely could. That's something that I wasn't going to really talk about, but I can show you how we can use the URL shortener to make it a shortened link as well. So what she's referring to is we have another tool in MaxCenter, which is what we call the URL shortener. And it works very similar to a system that's out there called Bitly, in that it can take a really long link and it can shorten it down to a very short little link, which is also REMAX branded as well. So maybe if it's okay, I'll just go off on a little tangent here and show you how that works. Is that okay?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So basically just go over here. I'm gonna copy this big long link that we have right here. We're gonna go into MaxCenter. Oh, MaxCenter's over here. And right here in MaxCenter, we have this additional tool, this REMAX URL shortener. And essentially what this does, just like what we mentioned, it takes a big, long link and it can actually rebrand it to being a REMAX link that's going to be a much shorter link as well. So essentially how this works, it's very simple. You just have to come in here, you create a link. I'm going to paste in the link that we have right here, the big, long link that we have. And let's just call this staging guide, just so we can find it later if we wanted to. So we can create a link. So it put it right at the top of the list because I've just built it just now. So this is the original link. This is the new shortened link, and I'll zoom in a bit so everybody can hopefully see that a little bit easier. So right over here, this is our shortened link. So it's rem.ex and then /, and it's a bunch of seemingly random characters. But what we can do with that once we've built that link is we can actually adjust that a little bit more. So I'll zoom out a bit so I can see where we can adjust that. So we'll just go in, and anything past the rem.ex can actually be changed. So let's just say we want to make it rem.ex / staging guide. So we just type in staging guide. And as long as that specific link hasn't been used by somebody else in the REMAX system, it should let you actually create that link. So I'll just save that here. Nope, actually it looks like that one is used, so I'm gonna have to make it something a little different. So yeah, I'm gonna try staging guide 1, just see if that works. Just hopefully that nobody's used that one. Oh, no, it looks like somebody used that one as well. So let's just, 1ON, something like that.
Gives you suggestions at the bottom.
Yeah, so there you go. So it's letting us use that one. So now we have rem.ex / staging guide 1ON. So that is something that if we were to click that, that's something where it will take us directly to that page. That's something you can, because it's a shortened link as well, you can also put it on marketing material, and it's going to be a lot easier for somebody to type that in versus having a big, long link of a bunch of random characters. So that's another plus to using that as well. And what I also like with that too is whenever you use the REMAX URL shortener, it also creates a QR code as well. So if you wanted to, you can actually use the QR code. So that QR code that we have right there, if you scan that with your smartphone, that will bring us directly to that home staging guide page, that landing page that we've just built as well. So that's something you can put onto any printed materials. Anybody that scans that will be taken to that page. So another function you can use with that URL shortener is using the QR code as well. So, all right, so let's jump back.
Yeah. You talked about the analytics too.
Oh yeah. So another plus to using the shortened link is it does have analytics information about how many people are going to that link. So if you were to print off that QR code and post that at open house, you can come back in from time to time and check to see how many people have actually scanned that QR code and have gone to that page. So that's just another little side benefit to that URL shortener right here. And that's actually right here under links and analytics. And you can always go back in from time to time and refer back and see if people are still going to that page or using that QR code or that link. So yeah, nice, really handy little tool. I think it's one of those things that's maybe underutilized, but it can be a really powerful tool to use out there as well. So
when they go and scan that, will it capture their information like a drip down?
Well, it will capture the fact that they scanned that or went to that page. Right. It doesn't necessarily capture their information. That's where the page itself would be useful for that. Anybody that lands on this page, if they're interested in what you're offering, that's when they'll give you their email address and hopefully phone number, and that's when they're going to come as a lead into the system as well. So, yeah. All right. Oh, Yeah.
Is there a way to put their name in, or do you only do email and phone number?
It's just email and phone number for landing pages, unfortunately. There is another kind of landing page we have as well. Let me just go over here and I'll show you this other option. So there was a recent update to the website editing functions. And with that update, we now have a new, more advanced page editor. So right under here under the web and IDX, if we go to this pages section right here, what you'll see is it gives us a whole bunch of template pages that we can use to build pages for our website. But one of the pages right here is classic landing page. So this is gonna look a lot like the page we were just on, but this page is more customizable than the original landing page that we were just looking at. So if you get into building landing pages and you want to go a little more advanced, you want to add additional things to the page that you couldn't do the standard landing page, you can actually potentially add it on this type of page instead. And what you'll see here, you can still go in, you can still adjust any of the text that we have here. So if we wanted to change this to, let's just change that to get your staging guide, something like that. But we can also add images in here. So right under here, these are all the different types of things we can add to the page. So if we want to add an image, it's just a drag and drop. You drag that in and then it's going to let you browse your computer to add an image to the page. Or if you want to add maybe a video of ourselves talking about that staging guide that we're offering out, we can actually add a little section for a video. And what's really nice, it is all just drag and drop. You just drag in the block that you want and then you add the content into that block. So you can get a lot more creative with this sort of landing page versus that original type of landing page. But the downside is it takes more time to customize this versus the other type where you just fill in some of the blanks and the page is basically ready for you. So yeah, and technically a landing page that we built the other way is still a page on your website. It's just not part of the navigation itself. It all lands underneath your website. This is just a different way to build a landing page essentially. So the other kind of page I wanted to show you here as well. So let's go back over here. I wanted to show you, so that was looking at the landing page. We also have another type of page which has a similar intent again, but we can actually squeeze a little bit more information into this other type of page. This is what we call an IDX squeeze page. So if we go into the IDX squeeze page, it is a little bit different to build a squeeze page versus building a landing page. But what I like here is you can build very specific pages based on maybe different types of properties in different neighborhoods or different areas. So what we come in here, we actually see we're in the IDX squeeze page. I'm going to stay under this multi-property section, but there are other types here. There's sold multi-property, single property, seller, but this is probably the most commonly used one right here, this multi-property. And right down here, it's basically just a matter of setting up what sort of criteria you want for the listings that come up on this page. So let's just say we want to build a page to bring up all the Windsor listings of a certain type. So let's say we want to bring up Windsor. Actually, sorry, because I'm in our demo account, I'm going to have to go with New York in this case, because that's the listings we have coming into our demo account. And we can basically set what type of properties we want to come up. So let's say we want to bring up all the condos in this case. You can set listing statuses. Usually active is going to be the most common one, of course. Style, there's different price ranges you can set. You can even actually set the criteria for this based on specific neighborhoods. Or what can also be handy is it will even let you draw a polygon or a map for it to just bring up listings in that area. So if you want to bring up a certain neighborhood based on a polygon you've drawn, you can actually do that too. So let's just say we want to bring up all the listings in this little area right here. Let's draw that. So now we've actually narrowed it down to a very specific area that we're setting in this case. So we basically fill in the criteria for what's going to come up in that search. We can also, over here, we actually fill in based on where we're going to be advertising this squeeze page. Let's say we want to share this on Facebook. We can just put in Facebook as being the source. We can also apply hashtags based on what we're setting here too. So we can say that we want to bring up New York condos, something like that. So it's just going to be labeling those leads that come in off this page with that specific hashtag. And right here, so we have this option to set how many properties somebody can look at before the website's going to prompt them to sign up for an account. So the default is 2 in this case. But if we want to expand that, we can go 3, 5, 10, 50. So we set however many properties we want to let that person look at before they need to basically register to see more. But I'm going to stick with the default, which is the 2. And at this point, I'm just going to generate the link. So I'm just going to generate link. Again, it creates this big, long link that we have right here. But this one does also give us a shortened link as well. And if I just take that and put that into my web browser in a new tab here, it's going to bring us to that page. And there we are. So in this case, for whatever reason, there must just not be any condos in that specific area, but you get the idea of what would typically come up here. It's going to bring you to a page where you can see all the condos in that area. It's going to give you a list of all those different properties over here. And it's basically going to let me look at 2 properties before the website's going to say, okay, you've looked at a couple of properties. You want to see more, you need to actually give us your email address, let's say now. So that's kind of the whole idea there. This is also something that you could very easily put onto social media. And anybody that lands on this page is going to basically be able to see some listings in their area. And if they're interested in any of those, they're hopefully going to give you their information by generating a lead, essentially. I see a question right there?
Yeah, I got a quick question.
Yeah.
I love to come for this because you learn a lot of stuff, okay, for this. But it all goes over a lot of it goes over my head.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, 'cause I'm not a tech guy at all, okay? I have people that I work with for tech and that.
Yep.
Is there programs that they can take? Is there courses that REMAX offers in this that I can have one of them take it to learn about doing this stuff?
There are a lot of training opportunities in the MaxTech platform itself. What you'll notice if you go into MaxTech, there's a section where you can actually go and find the webinars that are hosted mostly by Inside Real Estate, where they talk about these different functions and these different things that the platform can do. REMAX also has, in REMAX University, we have lots of training videos that we offer on the MaxTech platform and all the other REMAX tools as well. So there's that. And we also do offer live webinars there too. So if you want to sign up for a live webinar where they go through a lot of this sort of stuff. The thing I like about a webinar is it's just like what we're doing here. You're watching somebody do their presentation and you're able to ask questions as well during the presentation. So, but yeah, there are lots of resources either in REMAX University or in the MaxTech platform. There is a training section where we can actually go and find some of those recordings or some of those live webinars too. So yeah, great question though. Any questions about squeeze pages, about how that works at all? Is that all pretty straightforward for everybody?
And I'd like to add too, when you're putting locations, you can actually put the areas, the MLS area codes. Like if you type in like a number, like if you want to put Tecumseh, you wouldn't put 05, you'd put 5, and like it would show you Tecumseh would come up. So you could just type in your MLS areas and it'll pull those up for location too. And this is all on your website. So when they go there, this is on your branded website. Anything they click generates a lead. It's going to you, it's going to your phone, it's going to your contacts.
Yeah. And I like the idea of the squeeze pages because you can build these for specific neighborhoods. If you have a specific neighborhood that you work in or a few different neighborhoods that you specifically do a lot of farming in, a lot of work in, you can build these squeeze pages for those neighborhoods because you're an expert in those neighborhoods. Those leads that come in are going to be more qualified coming to you because you know about those neighborhoods. And you're also getting people more directly to the information they're looking for. You're not sending them to a website and telling them to search. You're saying, here's a bunch of listings in this neighborhood. And I mean, those people that land on that page are much more likely to request information because that's what they're interested in. So
keep in mind too, if you guys are farming an area, if you do door knockers or mail outs or anything, you could use the URL shortener, put it on a QR code, put it on the back of the marketing material.
yeah.
Okay, do this to see houses for sale in your neighborhood.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're saving them the work. All they're doing is scanning a QR code and there's all the listings for them. And if they have any interest in any of the listings, they're going to give you their email address so you can reach out with that information to them as well. So, yeah. All right. So hopefully that all makes sense for the landing pages and squeeze pages. The last thing I kind of wanted to go over here today with you is I wanted to show you a really cool function of the platform for having it do automated posting to your social media for you. We call that Core Social. So let's just go in here. We're going to go into the marketing section in this case. And we're going to go, so it's actually, it used to be called Core Social. With this rebrand or with this facelift that we've gone through, it's just called Social instead of Core Social. But it's going to be this one right here is what we're going to be looking at. So if I go into Social, what I really like about this is it's very easy to set up, but it can do quite a bit for you with that easy setup. So essentially what we have, if you haven't actually enabled this function of your account, what you'll find here is it'll show this little calendar over here. It's not going to show that anything's being posted for you currently because we haven't given it the information for what sort of posting we want it to do. So right up here, under settings and preferences, we have sort of a 3-step setup process. So the first step here is to connect it to your social media. The 2 social medias that it works with currently are either Facebook or LinkedIn. So if we want to connect it to our Facebook so it can automatically post to our Facebook, we just click this little button over here to connect, and it's basically going to get us to sign into our Facebook account, and then we just have to tell it we're going to allow it to do posting on our behalf.
But that's to say our personal page rather than our business page.
We can't actually post to a personal page. No, it does have to go to a Facebook business page. Facebook personal pages don't allow automated posting, whereas business pages do allow that.
So it just says connection successful. It automatically went to my business page?
If you have a business page under your account, then yeah, it should have gone to your business page.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So essentially we just have to make that connection. So we connect it to our Facebook, to our LinkedIn. Step number 2 is we choose what sorts of articles we want it to post on our behalf. So if I click into here, it gives us this whole list of different types of things that it can post. So hopefully it's big enough for everybody to see there, but we choose what we prefer it to post on our behalf. So I think real estate's a pretty obvious one. If we want to post about food, architecture, interior design, we just go through and checkmark any of the options that we want it to post information about. We also give it an idea of what days of the week we want it to post on. So maybe we want to have it post on Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We just choose those days from the list. The question there?
Sorry about it again.
No, it's all good.
Is this Canadian content or US content?
It should be non-specific content. It shouldn't be US or Canadian specific.
Because if you hit mortgages, okay, is it going to be US content for mortgages or is it going to be Canadian content for mortgages?
That's fair, yeah. And for mortgage content, I can't say I've looked at any of the recent mortgage content. So that one, maybe either one, if you do choose it, you want to maybe review the content before it gets posted. Or you could just remove that option altogether. Just not use that option there.
Jeff, is there an option to view the post before it goes out?
Yeah, there is. There's an option for it to view the post. So once we've chosen the days of the week and the type of content we want to post, we just save the settings. And sorry, let me show you that in one sec. The last thing we have here is we can actually choose whether we want it to post on any specific holidays too. And we do have our Canadian holidays listed here as well. So just keep that in mind. If you do choose, say, Thanksgiving, you want to make sure you choose the Canadian Thanksgiving instead of just Thanksgiving. So it posts on the right day with the right content. But once we've gone through all of that, what we'll see is right over here on this calendar, it's going to update and it will show us what it's going to be posting on any given day. So we can come in here from time to time. We can review what's going to be posted on our next day. It's going to be posting for us. We're having a little bit of a glitch with it right now. The last couple of days, I've been finding that it hasn't. Oh, actually, it looks like it is updating. So you'll notice here, it shows that it's going to post right here on November 1st based on what we've set in the account. And we can actually click into that article to see what that article is going to be. So we can actually click in. It'll show us what it's going to post right over here. And we can view the actual article itself. And if we're not happy with what it's going to post, we can either tell it we want to deactivate that article so it doesn't do that post for us. Or we can even just swap it out for something else. So it'll give us a few more options for other things we can post instead of that. So it is doing that automated posting for you. It's still a good idea to go and review what it's going to post and make sure it is something that's going to be appropriate for yourself. And, so to find what it's going to be posting for you, you just have to look at this little calendar right over here. And any of these little gray boxes, that indicates a post on that day. And you can click on it to actually look at what it's going to post on that day.
So we don't have it set up, so.
Yeah. Yeah, but once you make the connection to your social media, once you choose what it's going to post, it will just automatically update and show you those future posts that are going to happen for you. So it's going to show you a little bit in advance what it's going to post on any given day. And we can click into that and see if it is something that we do want it to actually post based on what we want.
And it looks like it, so it's a lot of articles from like major websites and all that.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
And this does, I think I asked you before, it does find current content, like that article was from this year, so that was good.
Yeah, it's all going to be current content that it's trying to post. It's based on other content that it knows that's out there on the web. So, yeah. And so this is really cool too because it's doing some of the work of doing that social media posting, and people who post more often tend to come up more often when people are searching for different type of real estate related content as well on social media. So just something to be aware of. You have that option to turn something like that on to increase your social media presence as well. So
Free social medias.
yeah, exactly. So the last thing I did kind of want to quickly touch on, there is a new system which you guys have probably received emails for just over the last day or so here. Unfortunately, I can't give you an actual demo on my computer because our test account isn't working right now, but you've probably seen an email come out recently about Folio. And Folio, even though it doesn't necessarily live in the MaxTech platform, it is still related to MaxTech. And it is something that's used for basically managing your inbox. What it does, it works with either a Gmail or an Outlook.com account. So hopefully most of you have one of those two different email providers. And what it can do is it uses AI to categorize and group your emails based on different clients and different transactions. So if you're working with somebody, it's going to take all the emails that relate to that person and that transaction, and it groups them into folders in your Gmail or Outlook account. So have you guys seen that email come out recently about Folio? Is that supposed to be actually coming? Actually, probably should have received it a couple of days ago. So nobody's seen that so far? Okay. It's called, it'll say something about Folio in the subject of the email, and that would have been sent out by our REMAX headquarters. And it's a pretty easy setup process. There's just an invite that you click to get into to go and set up that Folio. And what it's going to do is it's going to add something into your Chrome browser that works with your Gmail or Outlook.com email address to start categorizing and grouping your emails. So it's a pretty cool system. I wish I could show you a little bit more about it, but it's one of the new offerings that we have as part of the whole MaxTech Powered by Bold Trail system. Even though it doesn't live in the system, it is still technically part of the system because it's put out by Inside Real Estate. So.
We'll have to set up a virtual